Man, I gotta tell you, I see as you guys are checking in, everybody's starting to check in. You can adjust yours as you like there, Bub. Your guy microphone. I'm excited for today. I think we've got something really cool today. I'm very excited to have we kind of a last minute planning to have Brady from Bourbon Finder join us. Mrs. Whiskey Bonded is here with me as always in the office. Let's give you the can say hello. There
Hi,
you go.
everyone.
There's the on the we can go ahead and take just a second if anybody needs any more volume. I think we got the whole volume thing worked out pretty good. I think we're good on that. So here's what we're gonna do. Let us know if we got any volume issues or anything. Otherwise, we're just gonna roll with this thing. I got Brady from Bourbon Finder. Just a little quick intro. Bourbon Finder, I'm not going to tell you about exactly what it does. We'll let Brady do that. But it is basically some kind of wizard software that they've got that basically alerts the people that use it, that is part of their super secret society with the secret handshake, as to when bottles are available online. We've been integrating it into the Bonded Bottle Shop. I think it's the coolest freaking thing ever. I wanted to have them talk about it. And they've got some really amazing partnerships and some single barrels that they've been doing that I wanted to kind of ask him about. We'll ask him some questions about what he likes, about what his favorite bourbons are and such. And then we'll open it up for questions. I'm sure you guys will have questions after we talk to him a little bit. This is going to be more like what the ultimate format of this live is going to be like. Hey, Kevin from Iowa. Hey, buddy, how you doing? I'm going to try and focus on having a conversation with Brady. Not get too distracted by your guys' comments until such time as we open it up a little bit. Have some good conversations. And hopefully, this is a little more structured ish than normal. You hit the air conditioner. That's a great idea. That's the one thing I forgot to do before we got started. So let's go ahead and bring Brady in. I'm gonna go ahead and bring him in onto Discord. Hopefully this will go without issue, because we know how these things can go. I gotta turn his Discord audio back on. All right, Brady, you got us.
I got you.
I can hear him.
How you doing?
I can hear him, yeah.
Fantastic.
Can you hear me all right?
Yes,
we got you.
First of all, brother, thank you for joining us. You are officially, I told you this already, but for everybody that's watching, you are officially our first guest to come onto the live that is not one of my gracious patrons willing to just hang out with me and deal with all of the sound issues. I think we actually got it all right in the first try tonight, so maybe you're good luck, brother.
I love it, man. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So I wanted to bring you on because just a little bit that I've seen how Bourbon Finder works, and it's Bourbon Finder. You got to take all the vowels out. It's just the consonants, right? Which is cool because I can remember how to spell it. My terrible spelling ability.
Same.
Yeah, he's not great at it.
Not great at it. So Bourbon Finder is basically something. I'll let you explain how it works because it's just fascinating. As far as I know, you guys are the only one that are doing something exactly like this. Basically, alerts your people that either subscribe or follow or swear in or something when a new bottle pops up, because I've seen how it works when we had releases on our on Bonded Bottle Shop. I'd click a little box and then your people would be alerted when the bottle showed up. So maybe tell us a little bit about kind of how that works, man.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, sort of like when we talked, like, what we did with Bonded Bottle Shop, we primarily operate off of API partnerships with vendors. So and we have a bunch of them. And we're obviously always looking to get more, but through an API, which is the fastest way to access a vendor's inventory, their data, we reach out, we form a partnership, or they reach out to us and want to be integrated into the system for people to get notifications about their bottles. We integrate them in, and then we're essentially, with API access to their inventory, bottle pictures, and prices, we're like an F5 machine gun. Constantly, we can pull data from that site once we have an API as much as we want at will, very quickly and easily. So when people have a Bourbon Finder account, inside their account, they have what's called a white list and a black list. And your white list is a list of bottles that you want, that you're looking for. But Elmer T Lee, River Root, anything River Roots, or anything that you want, and then a max price that you're willing to pay for it, so that you'll only get notified if the price is under that threshold. And then your blacklist is anything that you just don't ever want to see at all. Maybe you hate Scotch, or you hate Irish whiskey. You can put Lawful in, or Ardbeg, scotch, peated, whatever in your blacklist, and that will automatically filter any of those bottles out. So it's really pretty cool because I think we have 40, a little bit over 40 websites that we're integrated, online liquor stores that we're integrated with right now. So if you're looking for a bottle of, a banger, Old Louisville Double Oak
There you go. I
whiskey
know that one.
bonded pick, and you want to know when that comes up for a good price, say under $90, if that's in your whitelist, well, the moment Conrad uploads one to Bonded Bottle Shop, you're going to get an email, a text, and a push notification from the app. And I say app, but it's actually, the app is in progress of being built. It's not done. But it's a PWA, so it's a web, it's a web app that you can download to your home screen of your phone or your computer, and then it performs just like an app. But yeah, as soon as a vendor uploads a bottle that you are after, you get a text message. We kind of hit you with a shotgun blast, a text and an email and a push notification with a buy now button. So all you have to do is, as soon as that bottle drops, you get that notification, you click buy now, and and then our part's done, right? It takes you directly to that vendor's website, and you complete the checkout process with them, and the shipping is, fulfilled all through them.
Okay,
That's the service side of it.
So for someone like an average user, they set up the account, they go through the list. I mean, you could literally put as many bottles as you want in there. I mean, someone could theoretically be getting notifications all day long as things are popping up on the websites, right? And you can put a price cap on it or not. So you can say, I just want to know about every crazy Elmer T that's ever listed, or you can put it on there and say under $80 or whatever it is.
Right, and then you'll only get a notification. Yeah, if you have Elmer T Lee in your whitelist and you put $75 as you're not gonna get bothered with a notification until it drops somewhere for $74.99,
That's pretty cool.
or
Now,
lower.
how did you guys?
Yeah, and
how did
that
you guys
goes
come up with the idea?
for any bottle.
I want to know because listen, there's obviously, I think it's a no-brainer that there's an appeal for something like this. I mean, these guys, the guys that are super into whiskey, are out there hunting these things all the time. They're searching online. They're watching all the unicorn websites. They're just every day. I mean, showing up at the freaking Total Wine every Thursday morning, whatever it is. So I get where the need seems obvious, but how'd you come up with the idea of building it the way that you built it so that it could give you notifications? I mean, are you taking credit for that, or I know you got a partner? Was it the tech side, or where'd this come from?
Yeah, well, it came from really the brain behind. I'm the face of the operation, so I end up getting a lot of credit. But really, the guy that does all of this is my business partner, Jared Grace. He's a software engineer, and we were just talking one day, sitting on his deck. I think we were drinking Weller Foolproof, and we were just talking about how great of a pour Weller Foolproof is for $49.99. And if you could just get it at will, I would drink Weller Foolproof all the time because I think it's great.
Sure.
And we were talking about it, and he was like, "Well, it's a big country, There's got to be, just because we're not getting Weller Foolproof. I mean, and you're not waiting in line in a store, that it's got to be dropping somewhere in the country, like, I don't know, every day, right? I mean, it probably doesn't drop every day somewhere in the country, but it drops a lot.
Yeah.
All over the place. Different states get it at different times, and of course, there's limitations on what states will ship to where. But that kind of got him thinking. He's like, I bet I could write some code, and we could just see let's reach out to some people and let's see if we could get something going. Because all I really would need is like, hey, can I have access to look at your inventory? And we thought that would be a hard sell at first, but it turned out not really being a hard sell. Turns out when you offer vendors a primed and motivated target audience, if you think about in terms of marketing or advertising, instead of blanket marketing to the masses, 10,000 people, you offer a vendor, hey, like, all we need your data, and we'll push your bottles out for you. You know what I mean? If somebody's looking for, it doesn't even have to be anything special. Somebody might be looking for, I don't know, just a bottle of New Riff Balboa Rye. There's a lot of stores they could buy it from, but if you're integrated with Bourbon Finder, when somebody types that in and they're looking for it, your store is the one that they're going to get that notification about, and they're going to buy it from you just because that's the notification that they got.
It's a pretty slick tool for sure. I mean, so how do people, if people want to sign up for Bourbon Finder, are you just going to bourbonfinder.com and going from there? Or is it?
Yeah, it's just at bourbonfinder.com, and there's two different tiers. There's a standard tier and a and a pro tier. And really, there's no competitive advantage over the pro tier. That the pro tier is what includes the SMS. And the reason that it costs a little bit more is purely to cover the cost of text messages, because we send thousands a month, and it turns out that's very expensive to do. But yeah, just bourbonfinder.com, you pick your tier.
So
I'm sorry, what was that?
No, it's okay. I can imagine that the text messaging gets a little bit expensive. I remember, I mean, I don't know how old you are, but I remember when you only could send so many text messages, and then they ding you for every single one of them. If I'm aging myself, for how many minutes a month that we would
$4.99 a text.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember too.
So tell me about, first of all, what are you drinking right now? I don't know, what are you sipping on? I saw you had a glass in front of you there a little bit ago.
Yeah, well, I'll make people jealous if I show this one. This is a
go for it.
It's a bottle, a River Roots bottle that I got from Ryan Lentz. It's a short barrel. I believe it's Bardstown. Ryan will probably see this and correct me, but I believe it's Bardstown. The 29 bottle short barrel, and it was it was like if you know Ryan, you know Ryan, private, text link kind of thing. So that was pretty cool. But next up is definitely going to be this old Louisville. I'm working my way through. It's fantastic.
Let me see. I think I got a bottle of that here somewhere. I'll drink that with you. So talk to me about one of the other things that was kind of cool. This is a different one. I got too much old Louisville stuff. Ever since we met Amin, I've been on the old Louisville train. I've been on the old Louisville train for 2 years, man. When he first started dropping on Instagram, the labels caught my attention, and I started reaching out to him immediately, going, "Dude, send me a bottle." And he's like, At the time, he couldn't. So we really were all over this thing when he finally was able to get us some bottles. I asked for him to get him in the shop and have since tried a lot of his stuff. And man, he's got an ability to pick some cool stuff and rebarrel some stuff. There's a guy that over the next couple of years, I think we're going to continue to see more and more out of, and he's going to get more and more recognition. Still not a lot of love in general. Still really is a kind of a niche bourbon or whiskey geek kind of a thing. A lot of people don't know what they are. I mean, the fact that we didn't sell all of these double oaks just tells you that people are not necessarily aware of how good these dang things are just yet.
I couldn't believe it, man. This is the first old Louisville that I've ever had, and if I drank this in a blind, you would never convince me that it was 7 years old.
Yeah, well, technically, I believe it's actually a little over 8. But because of rebarreling, he couldn't, and he didn't have a label, and he didn't want to put in for another. This is a meme for you. I love this dude. He didn't want to put in for a new TTB label, so he just said, Who else would put an 8-year-old whiskey in a bottle and put 7 on it? He just didn't want to do a new label.
Yeah.
Well, just
Penelope with that American Light Whiskey 17, that's actually 18. They did it too, but yeah, that's the only times I've heard of that.
That's true. So I'll tell you what.
That shows you how much of a pain the TTB is, though.
Oh, dude, it's brutal. We've got a custom label with chicken cock that's coming in because they don't do very much of it. It's taken freaking forever, but I'm excited for that one. It'll be worth it. It'll be worth it when it's ready, but the wait. So there's a lot of things like that in this whole whiskey game that are just ridiculous as far as wait and put in, and you don't know what's going on, and suddenly it happens, and then it's not happening, and it's just this whole round and round and round and round thing. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about, man, is, and I don't know if this is. People that follow you guys that are aware of Bourbon Finder will probably know some of this stuff, but we just had recently, you guys just had a charity thing with a buff turkey bottle that was with Brooks Raley, right? Who is a current major league for the New York Mets. He's a major league pitcher, right?
Yep.
Really, really cool Southpaw label. You can see the bottle on Bonded Bottle Shop. You can't buy it. I had more questions about that, man. More people said I want it. I'm like, well, this one's a little bit different, but you guys are going to have more stuff coming. So maybe talk to me about what kind of single barrels you guys are working on, because this is one of the things that that's not really what when you talk about Bourbon Finder. It's not really what I think the main thing with Bourbon Finder is. It's just a cool thing to search stuff, but you guys are also out there hustling and picking up some really cool barrels too.
Yeah, I feel like it's a pretty good. It was a natural progression, because I mean we are a software service, but really at our core we're all just whiskey nerds, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so with that with that comes, we're a whiskey group, and what do whiskey groups do? They do picks. Well, I didn't
Right.
want to just do picks. I think you and I probably have a very similar mindset on this. I didn't want to do picks just to do picks. Like we're a whiskey group, we got to do picks. Let's do some picks. Um, we decided early on, um, we're only going to do picks if they blow us away. If not just blow us away by like it was the best of the four that we went to a distillery, they had already picked 4 barrels for us. They let us try these 4. This was the best one of the 4, so we picked it. That I'm not really into that. I don't just want the best of what was available to me that day. I want to put out stuff that is, the best that we can get our hands on. And Brooks helps a lot with that because there's not a lot of people that really care that much about talking to me. But one of my good buddies, who's a really, really good relief pitcher in the major leagues, I've noticed they have more interest in talking to him than me.
He
Um,
opened
Yeah.
some doors.
Yeah. Shocking. Shocking. He's a really cool guy too. I get the sense that he's a very busy guy, but the twice that we've been able to
very,
kind of chat in a group, very cool guy, and obviously a big whiskey geek. So I think that's one of those things that kind of bridges gaps between different places where you live and different socioeconomic status and different age groups. I mean, in our Patreon, we've got people that are barely old enough to drink, and people that are in their 60s. I think Rick is 71. No, is Rick in here? I
yeah.
don't know if Rick's even in here. Yeah,
Isn't
Rick
that the
is in here.
awesome thing about this hobby, though? I mean,
Yes.
it brings people together from all different walks, like you said. So all different socioeconomic situations, walks, ages, belief systems, and it kind of seems like one place where everybody kind of just drops whatever ideological stuff they have going on in their life, and everyone just talks about whiskey. And I love it because there's not a lot of places these days where I feel like you get a break from that.
Well, and
You know,
between you and me, man, I think that people really they want that. This is the way that we always were it forever in the past, and then all of a sudden everything's become so politicized or so grouped, and everybody's off in their own little cliques. But I really don't think people want that. They don't want to have to worry about when you're in a group. Is that person feel like I do? Do they have the same religious beliefs,
right.
or do they vote the same way do I do? Are they wearing red? Are they wearing blue? I think people just want to find a way to kind of
Connect.
connect, have a common ground. And the cool thing about
Yep.
whiskey is one, obviously alcohol kind of makes you relax a little bit, right? And it
Right.
does seem like everybody is more interested when you're in groups of let's focus on the commonality, because I can tell
Yeah.
you from experience when we do picks with our groups, or we're in the chats with our groups, or we're hanging out in person with our groups, I can tell you that all of the people in there don't necessarily have the exact same ideologies, but it's never a
Right.
problem. It's never a problem because that's not what we're here for. We're here to hang out and have a good time, talk about whiskey. Everybody gets a little loose, a little relaxed, and it's really,
Yep.
really neat because I like to be able to hang out with a group of people and just kind of hang out, laugh, and joke, and everybody kind of ribs each other a little bit. And there's
Some
never,
get real loose.
yeah, some of them get real loose, like barely in the chair loose. I'm sure you know how this is. Every group's got that, but yeah, man, I think it's really fantastic, and we've been doing this for I don't know 3 years now, maybe a little more than
Yeah.
3 years now, and dude, I cannot tell you, even with this as much exposure as we get to the public, how little negative anything there is. It's so rare that I have to banhammer somebody or delete a comment, or it's just so rare. It's so rare, and I can't imagine that
Mm.
there's too many other topics where that would be the case. You're probably gonna get a lot more trouble in most topics, probably.
Sure.
It's I just
Yeah.
I can't imagine. So I guess that's pretty neat, man. And I got to tell you, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing kind of what you guys do. And I do agree with you on the barrel pick thing. We've passed on picks where they laid out some stuff for us and we just didn't love anything.
Got in trouble for it.
Yeah.
Well, I caught a little flack for it, but I don't know about trouble. But that was
Sometimes
one
you
of our
got to pass, though, man. I mean, it's not.
right.
Well, if
Seems
you,
common
yeah,
You got to
sense.
have a
if you're
standard
gonna,
and stick to it.
yeah, especially if you're gonna be honest with your, with your audience and the people that ultimately are going to purchase your product. It's like we want to stand
Right.
behind it.
Right. And there's a certain level of expectation, and man, like you, we're not so dependent upon selling the bottles that we pick, the barrels that we pick, that I got to pick something. You know, we got to pay the rent this month. I
Right.
got to pick something. I would never want to do that. We're really pretty clear about, you know, what we pick and why we pick it. And that's why part of the reason why I always pick it with a group. I mean, I don't know if you guys have a group bigger than just you and Brooks, but we try to always include as many people as we can get the distillery to let us bring,
Yeah.
to try and get the broadest spectrum of people. We just went and did a Frey Ranch pick this last week, and there were, I don't know, 12 tasters, and we pretty much universally agreed on the same barrel. And I think when that happens, what are the odds that that's not going to be good to everybody who tries it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get,
Right.
12 different people in a room, and they all kind of go, well, I was thinking number 6 or number 4, but I'm leaning number 6, and everybody's like, yeah, me too. You know, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
Right.
You're not going to get my personal palate. You know, my wife picks with me all the time. She has a very different palate than I do. So if you hit both of those, you know, hit her palate and my palate, it's going to be pretty universally acceptable and loved by the people that drink it. I think that's what this whole Louisville is. Even though I think for you, it was just a little bit on the oak side.
No, actually the old character
Rare character.
or rare character. Sorry. Yeah. That was more.
Yeah, our rare character is a little oakier.
Yeah.
Did you get one of our rare characters, Brady?
No, not yet. I think I saw that today. Was
I've
that today that I saw that? Was
Maybe
that
it
Barrel
pops up here
Shops?
and there.
I saw something on Facebook today.
Nope. Ours technically sold out pretty quick, but
That was the Rio, wasn't it?
I've reserved a couple of bottles. I'm sure you've seen the shenanigans of me putting myself on the bottle.
Oh,
But I've got we've got a couple. I'll Mill work that out with you if you want to try one. It's a fantastic Rio, and we actually with some of our guys that were in town for the whiskey festival this last week actually compared it to a few other rare characters, and universally was saying it's one of the best rare characters that, other than some of the really old, really rare stuff that's out there.
I'll trade you some River Roots for it.
Oh man, I tell you
Rare
what,
character for River.
I'd be down for that. It seems like that's a bad trade on your part.
You've already got a couple coming your way. You already know that. So
I can't wait, dude. I'm so nervous. I've never been so nervous about a bottle coming in the mail as I am about that Southpaw. It's coming, but we're pretty good. We have a pretty good success rate on shipping. But man, when it comes to me personally, I'm kind of nervous until that gets here.
Yeah, I've been nervous. I've been nervous the last few days up here in the Northeast because we've been, mid 90s, high 90s, and we've got bottles, floating around out there in UPS trucks. So haven't heard anything yet, but I've been a little bit, nervous about those bottles sitting in those hot trucks.
I've never had a bottle pop. Have you ever had one actually pop in the heat? I've never had that happen. You ever had a bottle pop in the heat?
Oh, really? I have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had wax exploded and the cap off and the bottle half empty.
Wow.
Inside the blister pack.
Oh, you're killing me right now, Brady. It's not that hot here. It's not that hot here right now.
Not yet.
No, but that's also coming. I think the River Roots comes out of Texas, doesn't it? So you're coming Texas through Arizona, New Mexico, and California.
Oh yeah, all the cool states.
No heat at all. There's no desert there at all. It'd be a problem. Probably hops through Las Vegas. And
so do you have your Southpaw yet?
I do not. I've got to check it. I got to check it and see. I should be getting pretty soon. I try not to watch the tracking because I'll drive myself crazy. I try not to watch it. I try to wait to just get the alert that it showed up and then get excited to go pick it up.
Well, and the times that you watched it, it ended up getting lost and you never got the package.
I have lost one bottle from my own. I lost one of my own bottles for myself, which was a weird situation to be mad at me for losing one of my bottles that I couldn't replace. We actually got, what was it? I think it was the Penelope. It was the Penelope Light whiskey you were talking about. I only got a few, and I usually don't buy a bottle for myself when we get limited releases that I put out to the patrons. But I bought one this time, and I shouldn't have done that. I was being greedy, and I bought one for myself, and I lost it, and then I couldn't replace it because I didn't have any more.
Should have paid for shipping protection, man. You could have had Bond Bottle Shop take care of you.
Damn it! I know. No. They offered me a 10% off coupon, and I told them I'll never shop there again. No. So I'll tell you what. Before we go to questions from the guys in the YouTube, because I'm sure they're gonna have some questions for you. Is there anything else that you wanted to kind of bring up about Bourbon Finder, about what you guys are doing with River Roots or Brooks or any other thing that you guys have got going on? You want to give a little hype, little shout to what you got happening?
Well, I mean, we've got some really cool picks coming up. I can't really say too much
Ooh,
about the next one
secret.
that's coming out in July. Um, but we've got a lot of stuff in the works. We also that Southpaw Buff Turkey Barrel, that is not. I think you might already know this, but that is not the only Buff Turkey Barrel we've got. Got two more barrels, um, and they are all equally mind blowing. So that we were very lucky to come into. If it were just me, if it were just me and not Brooks, we wouldn't have them. But we do. So we're excited about those coming out. One of those is going to be out at some point, probably in the next year, and the other one might go a little bit longer. We'll see.
Okay, we'll
Um,
watch Bourbon Finder. I guess if you want to see about that, I'll obviously make it a point to try and reshare things that I see on Instagram and our stories. So if you follow Whiskey Bonded on Instagram and watch those stories, anything that I've seen from you, I try to reshare that to just because I'm whiskey geeking too. I mean, I'm always a whiskey geek first, and then trying to do all this
yep.
this official business second. So sometimes I share things that are not my own store, and I wonder if I should probably do that, but I just. I love it, man. I geek out on this stuff with the boys in Discord, and it's fantastic, man. So
I love it too.
so let's go to the chat. I do want to before we start taking questions, you guys, please put your questions in the chat if you have questions for Brooks about Bourbon Finder, or Brady about Bourbon Finder, or about what they got going with Brooks Rayleigh, or about River Roots, or about any of that stuff. Please put it in the chat. If you just have a general question about for Brady, as obviously a whiskey enthusiast, you've got a couple of bottles behind you there. You need to straighten that up there, though, Brady. Your lines are looking a little messy on the bottle there. You need to face your shelves. Turn them labels out.
Well,
Turn them labels out.
it's not a museum. I drink it, so
That boy.
I'm never too worried about what it looks like.
I do got to call Michael out, though, for saying that the rare character was a little cheesy. He was specifically calling out my label. I understand that the label is cheesy, Michael. I get it. That was kind of on purpose.
And I said, just wait till you see the next one.
Oh, buddy. The next rare character label is so badass. It is less cheesy, though.
It's still cheesy.
It's cheesy, but it's less cheesy. Because I have a quick question while we're waiting for the questions to come in for Brady. I want to know if anybody that's in the chat thought that my head is too big on the bottle. Because Mrs. Whiskey Bonded thinks that my head is too big on the bottle. My head is too big,
100%.
but in general. But I mean,
your head is huge in real life, but it was extra big on that body of 007.
Thank you, Brady. So do you want to pull the questions, or do you want to? I just can't. Let's say Buff Turkey a few more times and see if Burbo appears.
So Cameron asked, can you give us example of partner discounts?
I take it that's a question for you, Brady. You must have mentioned partner discounts. Cameron's asking if you have an example of what a partner discount is.
Okay, so an example of partner discounts, not so much as a discount rate sort of thing, at least nothing that we've worked out yet. But for example, one of our partners is Bros Liquor, good old Gippy down there by you. Yep. So one of the deals that we've got with Gippy is from Bros is he's going to drop some of his allocated stuff online only to Bourbon Finder members. So, cool. Because we're partnered with them. Barrel Shop, also out by you, Conrad, Matt Hagel of Barrel Shop. You may know him out there in Cali. Same sort of deal. So there are vendors that we've got. I suppose we haven't really approached a vendor and asked them to give us a member discount. Like, hey, can our members get 15% off their orders if they use code Bourbon Finder or something? We haven't really gone that route. Generally, what vendors like to do with us when we're working out, some sort of agreement is they're like, oh yeah, you guys are going to push my bottles out, to people and help us get, more traction to enthusiasts and stuff and get these bottles in front of their eyes, we're going to return the favor by like, we're going to give your guys stuff like, you know, when Weller Foolproof comes in, like Gippy, a conversation I was having with him, when that comes in, you know, that's going to, we'll make that live. That'll be just a Bourbon Finder thing, or, you know, different various bottles. So we've got stuff like that coming. So not really benefits yet in the form of having worked out discount codes or discount deals with vendors, but other sorts of benefits with vendors and non-vendors, but just other partners where we've got things in the work with urban tours and stuff like that down in Kentucky and all kinds of other stuff.
So
I hope that answers it.
I have a question, and I got to give Ted Brooks a shout out. He's always doing gift memberships on the freaking lives. Ted's a super generous guy. I got to meet in person at some point. So with a guy like Gippy, and is a perfect example. I'm just curious about it. So Gippy is one of those guys that has a few little liquor stores. He sells a lot of the stuff that he needs to be able to get a lot of the allocated bottles. But I do know he also does sell some of the stuff for over MSRP. He does sell them on the secondary, and he does do bundles and stuff like that. So are you finding that he's being willing to adjust? Because I know personally, if I was going to sign up for Bourbon Finder, I might put Stag Junior in there, but I might put it in at a price that Gippy's not probably going to price it at. So I'm not going to get those alerts, right? So is he making adjustments for your guys's, or are you finding that most of the people that are signing up for Bourbon Finder are putting in, you know, SRP prices or super low prices and then just not seeing how's that connection or disconnection working?
So usually what we end up seeing in reality is somewhere, I would say for maybe 70% of the notifications that you'll get for bottles that you're looking for, we usually see them somewhere between MSRP and secondary. So say MSRP for a store pick, or let's say a bottle of Weller Foolproof, or MSRP for a bottle of Weller Foolproof is $49.99, and the secondary price for a Weller Foolproof store pick is, I don't even know what it is right now, $185. Sure. At one point it was $225, then it was $210, then it was $190. You know, so
going down.
Say $185. Gippy, you know, he was like, "Oh, we'll do the Weller Foolproof. We'll do the Weller Foolproof store pick. We'll get it out, you know, to your guys, $125." Okay. So, is that MSRP? No. Is it secondary? No. It's, you know, it's somewhere in the middle. But we also do have a lot of good MSRP drops, and a lot of those come from stores in California. Honestly, a lot of the stores in California you find pretty good pricing.
So we got a guy in the chat right now. This must be somebody that uses Bourbon Finders. He says, I put mine at lower secondary and hope the good prices pop up. That's probably a pretty common strategy, I would imagine. That feels like what I would probably do. Yeah,
a lot of people just want to see, you know. So yeah, I think even in my white list right now, I think I've got each Taylor Barrelproof is in there. And I don't have it at secondary because I'm not going to pay secondary on E.H. Taylor Barrelproof. Honestly, for me personally, E.H. Taylor Barrelproof is great. But there's a lot of other barrelproof stuff that I will drink that I'm not going to spend $350 on. So I'm not going to put it in there at $350, but I'll pay, you know, it depends on when I see it and what batch it is. I might pay $200 for it. So it's not in there at MSRP $79.99, but I'll put $200 in so I can see everything in between.
That makes sense. You know, you're not gonna get too many alerts at $79.99. I'll tell you what, if you can tell me that even once in a while that an E.H. Taylor Barrelproof will pop up at $79.99, I get you a whole lot of signups for Bourbon Finder.
I don't think we've had. No, we have had it. We have had an E.H. Taylor Barrelproof pop up at MSRP before.
There are certain
it doesn't happen very often, especially with E.H. Taylor Barrelproof. I mean, that's one of those ones that even, you know, your stores that do regular allocated drops, they're almost never E.H. Taylor Barrelproof, so it's rare. Yeah. But yeah, it definitely has happened before. We've had Blanton's Gold at $119, Blanton's Gold store picks at $119, Weller Foolproof at $49.99, CYPB at $49.99.
So on occasion you get a real unicorn going in there. I mean,
Yep.
there are certain bottles that the stores just don't have to sell that cheap to sell. They just manage to keep the supplies on those things just low enough, and there'll always be demand for them. And I will always be a buyer. And for Taylor Barrelproof is just a little over SRP. Now it doesn't happen very often, but if those dang things start popping up every week, I'd still buy one every time I ran out of one. I mean, there's certain bottles that just that are just winners. So what is you said your price at Taylor Barrelproof you paid $200? Is that your cutoff mark? $199?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't go over that. I on a lot of days, I mean, I've got some of them. I probably wouldn't even necessarily pay that much for it, just because I don't find myself going to it very often. I think I've gotten to the point in my bourbon journey where I've wandered away from the tater stuff, and
Brady.
I'm getting more now into the niche and craft stuff, which I feel like is the top of the mountain for a whiskey drinker.
It does seem that way, that's the evolution that everybody takes, that when you start drinking, everybody starts with, and I don't want to ask you this in a second, so don't give it away just yet, but everybody starts with some kind of a bottom shelf or a standard shelf bottle of Buffalo Trace, a Jameson or something like that, and then they start to work out from there. And as soon as they realize that there's more out there, they go off the freaking tater deep end, start chasing these things, and then get frustrated, and then start going, okay, well, what else can I buy? You start watching knuckleheads on YouTube like myself, and then after that, then you start to realize how there's a lot of other things, and you start to figure out how to get some tater bottles, and then you realize some of these tater bottles, as great as they are, aren't really the pinnacle. They're not really as good as, you get a bottle like that old Louisville. This is better than a lot of the tater bottles, but it takes you a while to realize it. And then when you do realize it, I think you fall where you're at or where I'm at. Whereas I still like some of the tater stuff. Like you said, Weller Full Proof is always good.
I do too.
Taylor Barrelproof is always good. Who's gonna pass on a stag if you get a good price?
Well, sometimes I think just the experience doesn't match the price tag. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's good, but it's not $300, $400, $1,000 good.
Yeah, like we cracked a 22 GTS at our bottle share this weekend when we had everybody come out for the whiskey festival, and fantastic bottle of whiskey, really fantastic bottle of whiskey. But I still don't think I pay $1,000 for it, which is kind of the going secondary is probably $1,000.
That's insane to me.
It just doesn't. There's no way that I'm gonna compare that against that River Roots when I get it, Brady. Let's just see.
You should.
Let's just see.
You won't, dude. That River Roots, you're not even going to be able to put it in a blind. It's so set apart. That Southpaw. It's so different, and so it stands out so much. You'll never be able to judiciously do a blind and not know what one it is. As soon as you taste it, you're like, okay, that's got to be the one. That's got to be the Southpaw. And
that does happen. That does happen in blinds. I think that's the lie of blinds, is you can do something totally blind, but if you know anything about whiskey, you've drank a lot, and if you especially drank the ones before that you're blinding, there's going to be some giveaways. There's going to be some things where you're like, okay, I can't pretend that I don't know what that is.
Well, certain bottles are very unique, so that's how and then there's a lot that taste a lot alike.
Oh, that's so funny. Tom said he just signed up for Bourbon Finder, and the Rye 3 cigar blend popped up. That is one of the bottles that I collect.
That's probably why my phone's vibrating.
Yeah. Oh, maybe. I signed it up.
There was a follow-up question from Dave. Is there a way to eliminate the places that don't ship? That's the only bummer with the system.
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh, no, absolutely. You can mute any vendor you want.
Okay, there you go, Dave. There's your answer. Yes, you can. You just have to mute, as you say.
Yeah, Dave, so at the top of any of your notification cards on your account page, you'll see two little symbols in the top right of the card. One of those is a circle with a line through it, and that is to blacklist that bottle, because you don't have to fill out your blacklist manually. You can get a notification that you see and be like, I don't ever want to see that bottle again, and click that button, and it automatically blacklists that exact bottle. And then right next to that button is mute this vendor. And in the bottom left of your card, the notification card that's showing you that bottle will tell you what vendor it's from. Might be 7 Star Liquor, or Barrel Shop, or High Proof, or whatever it is. But yeah, you can mute them if they don't ship to you and you're tired of seeing notifications from them. Just mute them. But what I do is I try to make a friend in that state, and just waiting for something good to come up, and then hey man, can I ship this to your house? And
utilize that friendship.
But you can mute it if you want to.
That may or may not be the method that I use to get a lot of Still Austin stuff. Thank you, Rick. Rick's House of Bourbon shout out. People think Rick's House of Bourbon's a real liquor store. It's not.
It is
my personal liquor hookup they're really slow shipping though, like really slow shipping. But everything gets here. So Devin, just one more bourbon. Devin is jumping ahead here with the question I was going to ask you, which is, what's the bottle that first got you into whiskey or bourbon? What was the one that made you go, oh?
Okay. Well, that's sort of an embarrassing one for me at this point,
always
because
is.
It was Elmer T Lee.
No way.
And
okay.
Yeah, it was Elmer T Lee, and I mean, now looking back on it, it makes sense because I'm actually looking at. I have one of them right here.
There you go.
And it's pretty full because I don't ever go to it. It's just too weak for me, man. I don't know. It doesn't do it for me. But back in the day when I first got to try it, I was like, oh man, this is quintessential whiskey. This is what whiskey is supposed to be. And I've come a long way from there. Not to hate on anybody that loves Elmer T Lee, but just for me personally, it's a little bit on the weak and bland, standard bourbon profile side of things.
That's my favorite.
That was my favorite
bottle. That was my favorite bottle to give away. I love giving away Elmer T Lee's because whenever I do find them, they pop up around here occasionally. Because in California we have great prices on stuff. If you keep in contact with people, when they do pop up around here, they're really inexpensive. So it's not a super expensive bottle to get away, but for a lot of people, it's really hard to find and very expensive. So I love giving away a bottle. I actually gave away a bottle of Elmer T Lee that was open and had a couple of pours out of it, and a guy came to my house, and I give to watch people's face light up when you give him an Elmer T Lee is one of my favorites.
Yeah, he was super psyched because he's never had it.
One of my favorite. Didn't he win another one? The same guy?
Did he?
I think he won another one after I gave him so I gave him his first one open, and then I think he won another one some week later.
Is that what we delivered to his house?
I think so.
Oh.
So what was that wasn't the first whiskey. What was the very first whiskey you tried? You remember?
The very first whiskey I ever drank was just Old Number 7.
Old Number 7. I'm surprised it didn't turn you off. I still like Jack and Coke. Well, I'm not gonna hate on Number 7.
Yeah, no, I started with Jack and Cokes. I didn't even drink anything on ice until, I don't know, I was in the Army and I was just drinking Jack and Cokes all the time. And then you know how it goes. Then it was, whiskey and ice. And then eventually it was just cold whiskey. I still want it cold. No ice, but I still want it cold. And then you find out that making it cold is killing the flavor. So you're like, oh, no, it needs to be room temperature. Then you start going up in proof. You know how it goes.
it's an
so now I'm all
inevitable.
Barrel proof, hazmat, short barrel, double, quadruple oak,
You start looking for the stuff that's super rare, super unusual. So I don't see much in the way of non-bourbon. Do you not partake of the Irish, the Scotch, the Indian, any of the other world segments?
That sits on another wall in another section.
That's a whole other room. He's got a separate room for that.
He's in the small whiskey.
It's the Irish
room, but I have, I have some stuff. I don't get to. I do like the Macallan. I will never turn down, like, if somebody offers me a Macallan 25. I'm out at a bar. Someone, you want a Macallan 25? I'm not going to say no. That's Scotch. I don't drink that. I'm always going to say yes.
That's
even
not going to happen
Macallan 12,
too
I think
often.
I think that's sacrilegious, isn't it? To
What,
turn
turning down Macallan
25?
Yeah, you should be shot and quartered in the street. Yeah, like the Macallan 18 is still one of my favorites. It kills me that the price has gone up so much on it. It's just gotten gotten nuts over the last few years. There's hope that it'll come back down again. I really think hopefully that the market is loosening a little bit. Luckily, it does sound like we're not going to get there's not going to be a reciprocal tariff for the UK, so we're not going to have to worry about that. It sounds like I don't care about the tariff news, but I'm watching it for a whiskey producing countries. Very important stuff to watch. I watch the news for whiskey relation. Well, so what's your so craft bourbon hunter? I guess Shane McNutt is saying, "Great to see you on here, Brady." To get a little
Oh,
love.
hey
I don't know if
Shane,
you're
what's
watching.
up, buddy?
I don't know if you're watching the
Shane's a
comments
great
or
guy.
not. So what's your favorite bottle right now that you've been drinking on? I mean, I have a feeling it's gonna be one of those river roots, but you have a bottle that's just kind of at the top of the heap for you right now.
That best bottle in the world for me right now is that Southpaw. Unfortunately,
Really?
I don't have my own bottle yet. But however, I recently, just in the last like year or so, really got turned on to Art of the Spirits. I don't know if you've
Yeah.
had any of their stuff yet.
You can't see it.
But Shane will
that's a good
appreciate this since
bottle
he's
right
on.
there.
They do some wicked stuff, man.
Yeah.
I've
The
got
one we
your-
got is amazing.
Yeah,
Hold
that's the
up.
10-year 154. There you go. That's a crazy bottle of whiskey right there, brother.
Dude, it is so good. And I think it's still on there.
It is.
It
Well, it
might
was.
be sold out, actually.
My guys might have bought it because we were talking about it, I think, last week or the week before.
It is killer.
And there was still a few bottles on there because it's not cheap.
I
I think it was $200, but given the theme, the cause, and the whiskey inside of it, I'm glad I bought this one. I don't very often buy a $200 bottle of whiskey.
So I raised my eyebrow at him when he bought it, but then once I tasted it, I was like, okay, it's a keeper. It's so good.
Yeah, here's the other thing. Rich gets I've done some video calls with him. He is just an awesome dude who runs the show over there, Art of the Spirits. Really has a passion for the cause behind what he is doing, probably more than the whiskey. But that's hard to say because his passion for the whiskey is ridiculous too. And he gets some insane barrels, and you'll never know what they are because he signs, these NDAs that are real, like true blue, strict.
Yeah.
You better never say a word NDAs. So he gets some stuff that you wouldn't think he would be able to get. And
it seems like that's the way those guys get those barrels, is by being super quiet about where the heck they came from.
And the cause that he's got behind him, I think, helps him too get some of this stuff because, I don't know, I think they probably make him sign some of those extremely strict NDAs because if anybody ever found out, what barrels he was able to get it at hazmat proof or something, there'd be a bunch of other people mad that they, that they weren't able to get one, or some distillery they'd have a mutiny on their hands with their, guys that they distribute to. But he does some crazy stuff. I would love to do a pick with him. You should as well.
So I'd love to do that, man. I mean, I will tell you, and I don't ever do this, but I would be shocked if this wasn't from Tennessee distillers. I don't know why, but this strikes me as a Dickel or a Tennessee. I don't know why. Every time I drink this, I go, man, there's some characteristic to this that is not unlike some of the Jacob's Pardon stuff that has some of the Dickel in it. There's just a little bit of a minerality in there with a whole hell of a lot of oily cola notes, and it's just so the fruit pops are so big. This is just an incredible bottle of whiskey. There's just really not anything else that I have like this.
It really is unique, and it's like gingerbread, like you said, cola and gingerbread and leather and ridiculous oily mouthfeel. 77% alcohol. So
it just okay. So I gotta
Kevin's
call out.
comment.
Kevin Connor said, "I'm sipping on some big head rare character right now."
Big head, right?
That's the new name for it.
I will. The limited. That's what it'll be on the secondaries.
Limited edition.
It'll be known
big
as
head.
the super rare, hard to find big head rare character. I'm down for that. I can't wait. I can't wait to see one of our bottles selling on unicorn auctions.
Okay,
somewhere.
so wait. I like bourbon a lot and had a question. How do you guys feel about the E.T. Lee 100 year?
The Elmer T Lee 100 year. Have you had that, Brady? I've seen it. I'm aware of it, but I've never had it because it just seemed to me like it was probably a bit of a marketing gimmick.
Money grab?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that seems to me like they took Elmer T Lee, slapped a different sticker on the back, and sold it for. There's nobody that does marketing better than Buffalo Trace.
No, I was gonna say
I mean,
Buffalo Trace would never do that, man. They would never do that. They would never slap a.
You got to give Buffalo. You got to give them credit, man. They can get anybody to buy anything.
Buddy,
they could sell water to a fish, dude.
If we're in court right now and I'm defending your point, I would put CYPB up for evidence. I can't believe what that bottle goes for. It's absolutely insane. And having had all the Wellers, there's no reason why any of those bottles should sell for that much more than the rest of them, other than exclusivity, that white label, and no one can find them. Somebody loses their freaking minds. Even Buffalo Trace self-admitted that the price range on those Wellers, the MSRPs run from what, $20 for special reserve to like $70. Isn't that like where they top out on SRP?
Yeah.
So even Buffalo Trace.
Want to know what else grinds my gears?
Hit it. What grinds your gears?
So, all right. So, can you explain to me why an orange label Weller single barrel has the ridiculous secondary price that it has, but a single barrel store pick of Weller Full Proof, which is a Weller single barrel, because it's a single barrel of Weller bourbon that a store picked,
right?
But at a higher proof, is such a lower price. Because I've had them both, and it's not like Weller single barrel is these incredible honey barrels that were, these were the ones that sat in front of the window. It's not like they're hit or miss too, just like any other single barrel. Mm-hmm. With some degree of quality control in there for sure, to make sure it's not trash. But I mean, what is it? 90 proof Weller's single barrel when you can get full proof single barrel.
Right, or 107
single barrel's a single barrel, man.
Yeah. Well, and
I don't care if Steelbox picked the barrel or Buffalo Trace did.
I gotta tell you,
what I mean?
I sat in on a Weller 107 single barrel pick where Buffalo Trace sent 3 pretty bad barrel, not great, but they were bad. It's the first time I've ever sat on something. Now they ended up sending that store owner a good barrel, but boy, they tried to pass 3 bad barrels, so it got me a little bit gun shy. Well, I'm like, I don't know about you, Buffalo Trace. My trust level is low on these single barrels, but I'm 100% with you. And I think it's manufactured scarcity. Buffalo Trace is brilliant at it. You're never going to see a store get cases and cases of single barrel, but they will get cases and cases of their single barrel. And I think it's just perception of, because a store that sells a whole lot of Buffalo Trace product may get a bottle of single barrel or 2 bottles of single barrel. Yeah. All it takes is, it's like all the whiskey drinkers are all standing in a line and they're all holding still, and they're like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to pay the secondary. But you got the one knucklehead way down on the end that's like, hey guys, look over there, and he's going to sneak over there and pay whatever it takes to get it because he wants it. And that's what I think that's what drives it. You only got to have one guy. Got to have one guy that'll pay whatever it takes, and that's what the new price is. So as far as I can tell, there was some rumor that they were going to start using single barrel as the single barrel label they were going to use that brown colored or whatever, that orange colored single barrel label as the new store pick single barrel label, and they backed off of that idea. So I actually heard that from pretty good authority that they were going to do that. They weren't going to use 107 or full proof. They were going to use the single barrel label, and I don't know why they decided not to do that, but it seems that they've backed off that idea.
I don't know. Maybe they realized that orange label is selling for $375, $400, and decided to leave. Maybe. The secondary market, as ridiculous as it is for the consumer, it's great for Buffalo Trace. You know what I mean? They don't just because now they've got people buying their stuff that actually like their products and want to drink it, and they've got people buying their stuff that don't even drink bourbon, but they just want to sell it.
Well,
so there's 2 economies. Essentially.
Sure, and they understand something that car companies have been doing a really long time. So car companies for ages have been releasing models, peak models where the company doesn't make any money on them at all, but it drives excitement. So when Buffalo Trace drops the Eagle Rare 12 label, all of a sudden you're going to have people that's going to be at the top of the conversation again. Everybody's talking about it. I guarantee you they're selling more Eagle Rare 10, which not coincidentally probably there's a lot more of now than there was a little while ago. So I don't think for any reason it is a coincidence that right about the time we start seeing Eagle Rare 10 around here pretty regularly again, as it should be, they drop a 12. Guess what everybody's going to run out and do? They're looking for Eagle Rare 12. Hey, there's an Eagle Rare 10.
Nope.
I'll buy that. You know, so
Yeah, no, I don't care about that anymore. It's not cool anymore.
They're brilliant, man. They're absolutely brilliant. Yeah. I can't wait to get an Eagle Rare 12. If anyone got their hands on one, I'll pay double MS. No, I'm just paying.
You know what I've wondered is how much Eagle Rare 10 is out there that's actually 11.
Oh, the rumor is that most of it is closer to 12 years anyway. That it's 10 to 12 year. But
you think Buffalo Trace is going to go through TTB for Eagle Rare 11? No. You think they're going to not bottle it? Some of it they probably held off to 12, but I bet you there's 10-year 9-month, 11-year 3-month. You know,
for sure,
just pushed out as Eagle Rare 10.
Well, for sure, because they've got if you're pushing Eagle Rare 10-year. And it's got 10 and 11-year whiskey. As these stocks of slightly older whiskey are getting older, they start blending in the 12s. And then pretty soon you have enough of the 12-year whiskey that you don't need to blend into the 10 because you got so much more 11 than you had. But then you just release a 12-year label that's probably 12 and 13, and they'll keep playing this game in perpetuity forever. I mean, we have standard Buffalo Trace is supposed to be 6 years-ish old. You know, we have a single barrel Buffalo Trace that we were able to get through mash bill that's in the shop right now that's 8 years and some change. There's no such thing as a Buffalo Trace 8-year, but look at that single barrel 8-year. I think it's just a sign of all of this whiskey, the excess of whiskey inventory out there getting older, and they're coming up with really creative ways to release it, get it out there. So we're going to see more of that. I think you're going to see a lot more of the Wild Turkey 8, the Old Fit 7, the Eagle Rare 12, even the high age stated stuff. So I think it's good for all of us. Your Eagle Rare 10 is going to be a lot more available now that the 12's out. That's a bright side.
Yeah, but they raised the price.
They did raise the price. That was bullshit.
Tab had a question. What do you all think of the new Taylor and the decanter?
Yeah, Tab brought up the new Taylor in the decanter. I'm gonna have to hop on Google. I
haven't seen it. Right? We're talking about EH Taylor?
EH Taylor?
He must be talking about EH Taylor. Tab
in the decanter. I haven't even seen it.
Great. Now we're gonna have to tater.
Tab, give us a little more info on it.
Let's get Bourbon Finder turned on to that. Yeah. Check the Discord. Well, we'll have to run off to the Discord after we're done here. But Tap is in Kentucky and kind of on the cutting edge of stuff. Sometimes it's amazing how many things we hear really early on from some of our patrons that are in the heart of bourbon country. Interesting. Oh. Sounds like the boys are talking about the new Old Taylor that may be part of the Buffalo Trace Antique edition of Taylor. Taylor's Distillers Council. I can't even keep track of all the Taylor bottles, man.
I was going to say, are we talking about EH Taylor that's going into the BTAC lineup? Or...
I'm not...
Because EH Taylor is getting a slot in the BTAC lineup.
Yeah, well, I think we're going to see all of the offerings get a slot in the BTAC lineup. Oh, here we go. Oh Lord, I don't think I don't know if we're gonna be able to show this or not. My wife just pulled it up. They actually have an EH Taylor Distillers Council. It is a fancy schmancy box with a crystal cork on it and a decanter bottle that quite honestly is kind of ugly in my opinion. It looks like a lamp with no bulb.
Yikes!
You'll
harsh words.
Well, no, I just don't. It's an odd choice. I personally am not a giant fan of the odd bottle shapes. My shelves don't really care for it too much. To try and get everything. If everything was shaped just like this, I could have some nice, even, clean shelves. But instead, I have this weird disjointed mess here of all different bottles.
Yeah, dude, Birthday Bourbon and 13th Colony are so hard to have on the shelves because
my 13th Colony. Yeah, they're sitting out there on the top of my whiskey shelf with my Willet pot still.
$14.99 MSRP.
Oh, it's a $1,500 MSRP bottle. Yikes.
I usually just as a general practice, I like to stay away from the, crystal decanter, pistol revolver handle, like the H. Derringer stuff. I usually try to stay away from the fancier the bottle is, the more leery I am about the whiskey inside the bottle.
Tom says, I wonder if you rub it, does a genie come out?
Well, for $1,500,
that is what it looks like.
$1,500, a genie better damn come out and make me lots of EH Taylor barrel proof. That's what I want.
Does it say anything about the age statement or the proof or anything? Or are you just looking at a picture of it?
It was just a picture.
Just a picture. But Brady, don't ask ridiculous questions. It says E.H. Taylor and it's in a fancy bottle.
It
just
says
buy
first
it.
and only 100 proof.
100 proof. So they're not even going to give us a barrel proof.
I don't think he has an age statement on it.
Dang it. It probably doesn't. Buffalo Trace doesn't need to put an age statement on. All they need to do is hint that it might be as old as 10 years. And then everybody else lose their minds.
An original recipe, though. They did put that on the box.
Oh, don't mess with the H. Taylor now. That's probably just the original.
They make a new mash bill.
God, please no. I don't.
Yeah.
I can't. We can't do that. I can't deal with another Buffalo Trace mash bill right now. It's my favorite thing about Buffalo Trace is the simplicity of the mash bills.
I don't see there being an age statement on this.
Trying to keep track of all the mash bills of who does what, and we have got guys in the Discord that literally know the mash bills. If you say, 75, 13, 12 or whatever it is, they'll know who it is. I don't have them memorized that well. So I'll tell you something. If you had to right now name your distillery of the year, you can't say River Roots, Brady. Who would it be? Because you said you're into the craft stuff right now. Who do you think's coming out with the strongest stuff coming out of as the dark horse for distillery of the year this year?
Jay Rieger.
Oh,
out in what is it, Missouri?
Yeah, Kansas City area.
Jay Rieger.
Boy, that's an interesting answer.
Yeah. Have you had any of Jay Rieger's private stock? Just like 5-year bourbon. Doesn't sound like anything special.
Yeah, we've had some stuff from in Kansas City. Really, really good.
Yeah, so I had a hazmat one from them.
Okay. Out
there a while ago. I think I bought it. I think it was actually a barrel shop pick. I bought it, and I couldn't believe it was 5 years old. It was dark as espresso. I think it was like 145 or 146 proof. And it was a 5-year-old bourbon. So when I see bourbon and hazmat, I know, okay, something happened, right? Because it's not an American light whiskey, it's a bourbon. So I know it went into that barrel at 125, right?
Yeah.
So through talking to them, the guy explained to me that it's because their rick house is surrounded by like a rail yard. And so sort of going into this, which I always thought was kind of a hokey thing. I didn't really think the science was there. Sort of like the Metallica, blackened.
Sure.
That blackened whiskey where they play Metallica music to the barrels to make them vibrate to like
Yep.
increase the capillary action and stuff. So yeah, he said that essentially there's this busy rail yard that surrounds their warehouse with, just tracks on either side. And you can look it up on Google Maps and see the rail yard, but said that rick house is basically just always vibrating from trains constantly going past in one direction or another past that rick house. And that's what they think is why they're able to get so much flavor and evaporation and get a hazmat bourbon that's as dark as, an espresso, like opaque dark, in just 5 years. So after trying some of that stuff, I was like, all right, I'm sold. I mean, you guys are doing, I don't even know what your mash bill is, but it was amazing when I had it. That's the first thing that came to mind is like probably the one offering that probably impressed me the most this year that I hadn't really had or heard anything before. It was probably that from Jay Rieger.
There's some crazy stuff that comes out of unexpected places, and I'm not super surprised to hear the rail yard thing. It actually makes sense to me. After, I don't know if you saw it, I actually had American Metal, which is a little small whiskey. They're rebottling stuff. They make custom motorcycles, but they did this thing where they did a sonic infused, and they just took their standard stuff and they put it in a barrel and then pumped the sound of a motorcycle into it. Now it's obviously a gimmick because they're a motorcycle producer, but they sent me both bottles, and in this instance, it was the exact same distillate, same age, everything, but with that added feature of the motorcycle sounds. And I got to tell you, whether it made it better or not is subjective. I think it probably made it a little bit better, but it was
definitely different.
Definitely a difference. It was definitely a different whiskey. So I can see it, man. Trains are also really low frequency vibrations. You're going to get a lot of penetration through the wood. I mean, I could.
That's
see
what
that.
I think it is.
It makes sense.
What you just said, those low frequency vibrations, because I've had other stuff that like goes along the same kind of line. They it's the vibrations that make it so good. And like American Highway, you know, Brad Paisley's whiskey, American Highway, it rode around in the back of semi trucks.
Yeah.
Or Jefferson's Ocean, you know, aged at sea, the waves tossed it around for, you know, and or Blackened. And I wasn't blown away impressed by any of those. Not that any of those were bad, you know, but they didn't taste orders of magnitude better than their age and their proof would indicate they were going to taste like. But that one, I mean, I can't speak for every barrel that they've got in Rickhouse, obviously, but that one bottle and then another one that another guy had that I got to try, both of those were just, I mean, they were bangers. So they've got, whether it's just the rail yard or something else, the arid climate, I don't know, but they've got something going on over there that is really cool.
Well, that could make sense. I mean, that air circulation too really is, the more that we visit places and find different things out from the different master distillers or the people in the rick house stuff, the air circulation and humidity and all that stuff makes a really big difference. We had we tried a barrel in a small distillery in Texas called Bent Distilling, and they had a barrel that they'd put on top of a rick house. Just hadn't really thought about it, but it was near the vent fan for the warehouse, and it was an old Tempranillo barrel that they'd put their standard bourbon in. And because of the vent fan and all of the extra air movement only, they ended up with 152 proof Tempranillo finish that was just an astonishing thing to taste. And it was just the air movement. So, I mean, sometimes it's the tiniest thing. I think that's one of the coolest things about the process of whiskey aging to me is a lot of times even the best, the people who do this for a living, can't anticipate the factors that nature might throw in or the environment might throw in that will make a dramatic difference. And a lot of times it's unintended. I mean, Jay Rieger didn't go, hey, we should put this out here by the trains because the vibrations, they went, whoa, what the heck's going on here? And then tried to figure it out. Same with Bent Distilling about that fan. Right. Or, you know, when we were at Wild Turkey, there were some barrels that like ended up in this weird little peak spot in the warehouse that had extra hot temperatures. And you just end up with these weird effects. That I just, you know, it's no matter what you just do to distill it.
That's why it's like the art of whiskey, right?
It really is something, man. It's amazing because you get the combination of skilled distillers passing down information on a science. You know, we go to distilleries and you see the vats and the mash bills and the distilleries, and they pot still or column still or triple distill or whatever it is. Those are all the sciences that have been passed out, and then they put it in a barrel, put it in a warehouse, and everybody just kind of goes, well, see what happens. We'll test it. We'll test it every year and see what happens. And the climate just does its thing, and the wood does its thing, and that's freaking cool because it is kind of a cool combination of, you know, humans and history and passing down information and science. And there's a lot of technology. You know, Bardstown's got their super crazy lab down there with centrifuges and people in white coats. You know, you got all that working in conjunction with, let's just put it out there and let's see what nature does with it over the next, 5, 8, 10 years and see how it comes out. It could be bad. It could be good. You know, they were talking about it at Frey Ranch, how they get some barrels that are just stinkers. They have to find ways to blend them in. And it just for whatever reason, why is that barrel a dud? And the one next to it's not. I mean, how do you can't anticipate those things. It just happens. And it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, some of them come out tasting like wet leaves, man. I mean, it just
yeah.
I've had some bad barrels.
I got to call you out on something I see. Oh yeah. Unfortunately, Weller Antiques. Hey, I see what looks like a Hemingway. Is that a Hemingway bottle behind you there?
Oh yeah, this one, man.
It's awfully empty.
This is a good one, man.
Yeah.
I actually didn't buy it for a long time because I thought it was kind of a gimmick, and then I eventually did. And I'm not usually like, I don't know, sherry and port, kind of over, like sherry and port finish. Everything's a sherry port finish, but that one, I don't know what's different about it. Oh, it was a rum seasoned Oloroso sherry cask. So,
okay.
I don't know. I don't really like rum that much, but for some reason, this one's super good.
I got to tell you, the barrel finishing is one of those things that when they set out to barrel finish something, I think you're really rolling the dice, man. Because sometimes I've had some great stuff. There's some rum finished Irishes that I really appreciate, and I love Pedro Jimenez sherry for finishing, for certain things, if done right, it can be really fantastic if it's done right. But man, it can also go off the rails. And I've tried some things where it was like, I don't understand what the point of doing this was. You didn't add anything to the whiskey. It didn't make it better in any way, shape, or form. All it is now is I taste a whiskey that was okay, and now it's an okay whiskey that I could taste sherry in. I was like, well, I don't.
Yeah, right.
So it's like it's a dice roll, and it seems to me like from what we've experienced that the people who are most familiar with the liquid that was in the barrel before, so people that are really familiar with wine and wine barrels, and they know that, those are the ones that have the best luck in finishing whiskey in them. If you really know what Pedro Jimenez sherry does, and what the barrels are like, and how it ages and how it's made, those people know what to do. We call out Redwood Empire all the time, but I think Redwood Empire nailed it on their haystack, the original finished ones, because Purple Brands is originally a wine producer, and they've made some comments about how important it is to care for the wine barrels, to make sure that you move quickly with them, that they're at the right temperature, and that they don't turn in the wrong way. But it was a lot of knowledge that they knew because they were wine
makers, yeah.
And because of it, I think they came up with some great cab and port finished whiskeys that turned out really great, because they kind of knew how to get the best out of it because of the experience of wine. So, there's something to be said. The whole wine finishing thing, I think, is kind of waning. I don't know if you've noticed that too. Yeah. It's definitely backing off, thankfully, with the Amberana trend. Your
favorite?
Yeah, Amberana's one you got to be careful with Amberana, because I've had some Amberana stuff that's just real hot garbage. I've had stuff that's great. I've had stuff that's great for sure, but I've had stuff that's not. And one of the, RD1 does a fantastic job, I think, with their Amberana finish. They don't do it too long. I don't know if you've ever seen like a video of these guys putting. You may not have seen it. I saw a video one time of a guy, and he just takes like an Amberana, stave, a honeycombed Amberana stave, and he puts it in like down into new make, into like a clear vat of new make. And as soon as he puts it down into that alcohol, the yellow just starts coming off of it. So you can see how fast it already leaching in. And I know some guys will take a barrel and they'll put Amberana in it, and they'll leave it in there for like 24 hours and pull it. They're not letting it sit for 2, 3, 4 months. You can't with fresh Amberana. So,
well, RD1 was actually the one that you got, like, that you tried, that you actually enjoyed.
Yeah. So I
remember you making the video that this is actually one that you like the Amberana on.
RD1's Amberana. I do like what High Bank Distillery did with their cigar, this orange bottle behind me here. I like what Kartek over at Rye 3 did with his blend on Amberana. But for me, the thing that all those have in common is they were very careful and delicate with how they used the Amberana. Because did you try the original Penelope Rio?
Oh, yeah.
They left
batch the one?
Yeah, they left it in for like
Cinnamon
18
bomb.
months or some crazy thing. And it was
they learned from batch one.
Yeah, and they backed it off to like less than half the time. I think they went down to like 8 months or 6 months from a year and a half or something. I couldn't hardly drink the first one. It was just like mouthful of cinnamon powder. It was just crazy.
Yeah.
So I think you nailed it. It's about being delicate with it, and I think if you do it the right way, like with this new Rye 3 Cigar Series 2 that they come out with, the Amberana is definitely there, but for the purposes of what he was blending it for, with use with a cigar, that extra that slightly, it's almost slightly too much when you drink it by yourself, but would be totally necessary if you were drinking a kind of a full or if you're smoking a full-bodied cigar with it. You're gonna want that extra kick to be able to hold up to what you're doing with the cigar. The Whiskey War comes across as pina colada with a little cinnamon sprinkled on the top. It's very tropical. They did a great job with that. But
I was just eating lunch last month down there, and they brought me some of that, and they brought me the double as well, which I really liked.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, the double.
But yeah,
I thought it was
their
cigar.
Be too much. I really enjoyed the balance of the Amberana and the whiskey on that. I think the other thing is like, I think the finishes also depend, whether it's a port finish or sherry or Amberana. It depends on why they're finishing, right? It's like, well, did you put this in a barrel to finish it to save it?
Yeah, good
you know,
point.
because it was
Yeah.
crap? Or did you have a great barrel of whiskey and you were like, all right, now let's do a pour? I think a lot of the time, especially with, you know, maybe distilleries that are a little bit smaller, they tend to be like, I can't afford to eat the cost on like these 5 barrels that turned out to be
Right.
duds. Let's throw them in port barrels and see if we can work some magic with the
Salvage it.
port barrels. And if that doesn't work, let's throw them in sherry after that. And it's a port and sherry, you know.
Yeah.
So
They
I
try
don't
to
know. I think
finish
there's
out.
some of that goes on too.
Sure, and I think I'm sure they blend out some of the stuff too. I mean, it's amazing what a good blender
Yeah.
can do. But you're right; they try to rescue them sometimes, and I think that's the art of it. You kind of got to know what you're going for. I really enjoy. You see a lot of Irish whiskey finished in PX and different sherry stuff, but they're
Yeah.
they're barrel heads or they're staves or they're something like that, twice filled or something. So it's very subtle, and I think it's great, man. I love the fruit notes that it adds. But you're right. It's got to be an adder. It's got to be an adder, and a lot of things are a lot of things are gimmicks. That finished in this, finished in that.
Well, Devin says now everyone wants to finish in tequila. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't get the tequila finishing trend.
Yeah, it's because tequila is the new thing, man. It's
Yeah.
Crossover.
That's what
I have
everybody
one.
says. Tequila is the new thing.
I do
That's
have
why
one
we own the
bottle of
domain
tequila
for
finish.
Tequila Finder too.
Yeah. If you take all the
TQLAFNDR, type that in, it goes to Bourbon Finder.
Duh, get out of here. That was smart. That was smart. Although
we did
the
that
tequila,
a long time ago.
taking the vowels out of tequila doesn't work quite as seamlessly as taking the vowels out of bourbon. It doesn't work out quite as well. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well,
Tequila Finder. I don't know if that's
Tequila Finder. Yeah, you might you spell that wrong. You might end up on the wrong website. Well, look,
Tequila.
I'll tell you what, man. I appreciate. I know you're several hours ahead of us, so I'm not going to keep you any longer. But I appreciate you coming by, talking about Bourbon Finder. Obviously check out bourbonfinder.com. You can see it right on the shirt there, BRBNFNDR .com. Check that out. You will see some more stuff from Bourbon Finder at Bond and Bottle Shop in the future. We're going to do some stuff together. I want to do some collaborative picks and it's going to be a lot of fun. We want to do more picks in the future, but we are looking for some, like you, looking for stuff that's a little unusual, a little special, and we want to pick with people that we like, man. That's the thing that's been a consistent thing for us is we love Amin. Pete at Rare Character was a blast. Will at Chicken Cock is a great dude. I mean, we want to do things with people that we enjoy too. Support the companies and the people that are just they're good people. They're good people to be around.
Absolutely.
And good brands with good intentions, and all they're trying to do is put out the best whiskey they can possibly put out first. And that's where we're looking for. So, man, I'll tell you what, I am going to probably take a clip of this and use your quote saying that the Southpaw was the best bottle of whiskey that you've had. That was a bold statement, man. So be prepared to be called, to be used on that and see yourself quoted.
Hey, don't give me credit. Give Buffalo Trace and Wild Turkey credit.
Yeah, I actually just had my first buff turkey fairly recently. And I do got to tell you, it is a very interesting combination of turkey and trace, which I'm a big turkey fan and a big Buffalo Trace fan too. But the one that I had was a really interesting combination of the two. Maybe better than Russell's 15, not quite as good as GTS, but the fact that we were having that conversation was saying something to me. That you're putting it. You know what,
dude? There is such a variation in the barrels too. We tried a lot of barrels. I think it was like 12 or 13 short barrels that we tried. A couple of them just sucked. You know what I mean? Like they were, just because it's 16, almost 17-year-old buff turkey, that doesn't mean it's going to be good.
Right.
The short barrels that we got our hands on, people didn't necessarily want them, even though they were incredible, because the barrels were a flat rate price.
Yeah.
So
and short.
It didn't matter if a barrel's 12,000. They don't care. It's a $12,000 barrel, whether there's 100 bottles in it or there's 40 bottles in it. So with Southpaw, we bought a 33 bottle short barrel.
Yeah, that's
just because of how good it was.
Well, I get what you're saying. I mean, you leave nature to its devices for 15 years. If that thing started going just a little bit south at year 9, you're going to be in trouble by year 15.
Right.
And they're not adjusting. You get 33 bottles left in a barrel. They didn't do a damn thing but let that thing set somewhere. So it could have gone. I mean, it could be empty after 15 years. You know, so I guess 33.
Well, another thing with it being a short barrel is if there was something wrong with it, that wrong is concentrated now.
Yeah,
you know,
right. Well, good luck.
Off note or whatever is.
Have you had? So you guys have done? Have you guys done some Detling stuff? I think we've talked about the Detling.
Have we done any Detling?
Yeah, you guys working on some Detling stuff? Detling is, somebody just mentioned Detling is a craft distiller and it's their favorite distillery, and so Detling is a hot topic right now.
I love Detling. Down in Alabama, it's like they don't need as much time down there in the South, Texas, and Alabama. That would be a close one. Like back when you asked me about the craft distillery, probably my favorite of the year. Detling might have been the right answer.
Well, let's get a Detling.
I've actually got a bunch of samples of Detling that I need to, that I got sent by a buddy. I haven't actually gotten into them yet. I still need to go through them. But I love everything Detling's doing. I would love to do a pick with them. That might be a fun one to do.
Let's get Brooks. Let's get Brooks together. We'll drive down that crazy dirt road. Maybe we can get Brooks to hook us up with a helicopter or something. I heard that dirt road is not fun. I heard it's a long, empty dirt road to get back to Detling. One of our Kitsap Whiskey Society, Colby from Kitsap Whiskey Society, who was the first whiskey group we partnered with, actually took the drive out to Detling, and he sent me some videos, and I was like, bro, you ever seen Deliverance? You might want to make sure you're on the right street, because that looks a little sketchy to me, but I'd love to go out there, man. I'd love to go out there. I want to meet the dude. I want to meet Seth out there, too, because just seems like the best kind of character in whiskey. The guy that drives whiskey forward and has made it last for so long is such a staple American thing. Guys like that are...
Yeah, and he's just down there in the South doing his thing. Not everybody knows who he is. He doesn't care.
That's great, man.
He's making a name for himself, though. I mean, a lot of people know who Detling is now.
Well, a guy like that is our generation. Pappy Van Winkle, Elmer T Lee. He's our generation's tried and true. Just gonna make the best whiskey I can make. The best way I know how to make it, and that'll be a name that years from now people are gonna be. There'll be bottles named after him by Buffalo Trace when they buy Detling after he's dead.
Yeah,
that's how that's gonna go. There'll be a Colonel Detling BTAC bottle in 50 years. It's just the way it's...
It does seem to be the way it goes, huh?
Yeah, it does. So
you're gonna buy your brand 100 years from now. You're getting a bottle.
So everything's going to be owned by Buffalo Trace eventually.
Probably by Pernod or. It'll all be owned by
one umbrella.
Sazerac.
It'll all be owned by Campari or
probably Campari. Yeah, probably Campari.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how heartbroken I was to find out that Wild Turkey was owned by Campari. It's not owned by the Russells. Did you know that? The Russells don't...
No.
I first heard that. I'm like, wait, what do you mean? What do you mean the Russells don't own Wild Turkey? I could have swore they did.
Wow. Yeah, I thought Jimmy Russell was still the
Yeah, never was.
No, I guess he's just he's the longest tenured master distiller in history, but I guess that doesn't mean that he owns it.
No, and arguably maybe the best known master distiller in history. I mean,
how did I not know this? You didn't even...
The Russells?
Yes.
No, the Russells don't own. No, they're employees like everybody else.
I have always conflated the two.
Yeah, a giant alcohol, national alcohol. Everything. Listen to Run by the World, man. The world, but you can't do Wild Turkey without the Russells. So Campari, I'm sure would buckle to the demands of the Russells. They are Wild Turkey. They're the face of Wild Turkey, own it or not. I mean, their name's on all the bottles. I'll tell you right now, if the Russells go away, I'll never buy another Campari. You hear me? I'll never buy another Wild Turkey bottle in my life if there's no Russells. Man, hanging out with Bruce Russell. What a great guy.
Yeah, he's saving that.
Yeah, you saved that. Yeah. You saved that clip because I swear to God I'll live by that. I'm a lot of things.
I don't want to see you buy no Russell's 15 10 years from now.
I'll tell you what. I'll make a bold statement. Look, this is on the internet in perpetuity forever. Okay. If the Russells are no longer at Wild Turkey, I'll dump every bottle of Wild Turkey I have.
You will not.
Yes, I will on camera.
I will not let you.
I will. Yeah.
You do realize that you already paid for those, right? That's like the people that were burning their Nike stuff.
It's in solidarity.
When they already paid for it.
It's in solidarity.
Yeah, okay.
I'll have to do it.
Jeez.
I'll have to do it. Yeah, there'll be people crying, but I will do it. I will do it. Well, listen,
Yeah,
man.
I'll be crying because I'm the one that drinks it most of
The
the
wild
time.
turkey is good stuff. I'm a huge wild turkey fan, man. I love wild turkey. Well, I'll tell you what, you
Same.
guys. Man, listen, Brady, thanks for coming by, man. I appreciate you hanging out. This actually went a lot smoother than I thought it would, to be honest with you.
Yeah, nice meeting you.
Yeah, no
Hopefully
technical
we'll get to
glitches,
meet
nothing.
in person at some point.
Yeah, we'll come out there. We'll come see you.
Awesome.
Well, we're gonna be.
Get
What? So,
big pics
what
soon
part of
anyway.
the country are you in?
We're in Pennsylvania, just north of Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Owen.
Oh, we have Owen out
Yeah,
there.
one of our oldest
Owen's in
standing
here, I think,
patrons
tonight.
is from Pennsylvania. He may be tapped out because he's been working early a lot lately. He works in road work and for the city and stuff. So it's his busy time of year. So he usually stays up with us all night long on the Discord after parties, but during the summertime we don't see him quite as much. So
Yeah.
he may not. He may
That's
not be in here.
understandable. The days are hot.
Yeah, well, listen, man, I appreciate you staying up late and chatting with us and showing up and filling us in. I'm
course,
very
bud.
excited to see what comes from you guys in the future and what we can do together too is with our new partnership. So can't wait to try that,
Hey, likewise.
that bottle, that Southpaw, man. Damn it! Now
I want to see a picture when you get it, man. I want your immediate thoughts.
Oh man, I will absolutely. I appreciate you actually. I don't know if anybody knows, but you actually became a patron today. I will absolutely post my first impression on that bottle on the Patreon, and then we'll.
Okay.
I don't know if I will do a review on that unless I do actually think that it might be the best bottle that I have, because I don't like to do reviews on bottles people cannot get. But I will put it on the Patreon.
Yeah,
for sure.
which I get.
Well, for sure, and I'll post.
Well,
I'll probably
technically,
static
people can
post
still
about
get it.
Well, isn't there like 5 bottles left?
There's 5 more.
Why don't you put this out there as the last thing before I let you go? If anybody is interested in trying to get their hands on one of those Southpaw River Roots 5 bottles, what is the only way they're going to be able to do that, man?
Sign up, Bourbon Finder. Actually, we had a guy, one of the guys who won the right to purchase for this last wave that we did. He had been a member for, I think, 2 days.
Oh, wow. I hate those
So-
beginner's luck
Nice.
guys.
It's a random draw.
That's
You
the guy
could be
that
a member
walks
for
in.
2 years, 2 days, 2 months. Random. So
If they're a member of Bourbon Finder, they have a chance to win the right to buy one of those River Roots bottles.
yep, you automatically get points when you sign up. They're to enter, and you can go and enter the drawing, and then points are always accrued just free. Just on the Bourbon Finder platform, anything that you do on the community page, you post, you comment, you like stuff or whatever, you just earn points, and then you can just use those points to enter stuff like giveaways or giveaways for trips or giveaways for bottles or right to purchase stuff like that Southpaw Buff Turkey, all that kind of stuff. So, but you'll automatically get them when you sign up. So honestly, Jared hates when I say this, but honestly, even if you signed up, use the points that you got to enter the right to purchase for the Southpaw, and then just did your 30-day free trial and waited until after you had secured your Southpaw to cancel and then canceled, there's technically not anything we could do about that.
Well,
So
Well, it looks
Jared
like
hates
from
it
the
when I tell
comments,
people that,
there's
but-
quite a few guys that have signed up already
yeah, I think you got some new
during
people
the live.
signing up.
Oh,
You got
well,
some
that's good. I look forward to meeting them. Make sure they join the WhatsApp and the Discord
Yeah.
with you guys. Well, I'll have to get my guys to come harass some of you guys in the Discord. I'll pressure them
sure.
into becoming Patreon members. I'll tell them they're not, they're not in on the next bottle drop unless they.
there you go.
Our Discord
I'm
is
with you,
very
Bobby.
active, so just warn them
Yeah.
about that, though.
We have a super active Discord. A lot of really great people around the country, and a lot of those guys have gotten together on multiple occasions because we try to make trips and get people together. And I tell you what, man, I have made some great new friends, and some of the guys that we've hung out with in the Discord, I know we're going to be lifelong friends at this point, just even this far in. So yeah, man, definitely,
Sure.
Brady, as you have time, get in there and talk to some of the guys in the Discord. You'll dig them, and we always do live Discord video group chats after the lives on Wednesdays. So it's probably kind of late for you, but if you ever feel so inclined, they'll send out the bat signal and jump into the video chat at any given time during the week. So
Yeah, and shout out to Tom, Kevin, and Cameron. It looks like they all signed up for Bourbon Finder. So
those are some of our
Thanks, guys.
Some of our great guys. So
I'll hop in the Discord after we pop off here. You said you guys are going to be hanging around for a little while. Maybe I'll hop in there and talk to some guys, see what's going on.
Yeah. You got it. There's a lot of knowledge.
Looks like Rick too. He became a pro member. He just said
Rick does not play.
No.
Rick's House of Bourbon.
He wants 2 of everything, so just be prepared.
Yeah, he's gonna try and win 2 of everything. Yeah, he's that guy.
Oh, and Michael too. So
yeah,
quite a few guys signed up.
Right. All right, Brady. Well, listen, man. Thanks for coming by. I'm sure I will talk to you a lot more. I appreciate you coming on, and you're good luck. You're good luck for. We didn't have any sound issues. I have to adjust anything, man.
Yeah. Now you're gonna have to pop in at the beginning of every live just to make sure our sound is working.
Hey, your good luck charm.
Yeah.
All right, brother. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for coming by.
Nice meeting you.
All right, man. Hey, nice meeting you guys. Thanks for having me.
Bye.
All right. Well, that was man. I Brady is a really great guy. The Bourbon Finder things are really cool. I have not had much time to get on there and really goof around with it a lot, but definitely understand how it works because of the here. Let me put you on the video here. We got Miss Whiskey Bonded on the video. You're looking tiny in that little window, sitting in the chair. The Bourbon Finder thing has really been cool for us because we've used it as a retailer.
Why is my window so tiny?
Your win? I don't know. I'm not giving you no fair time because I'm bullying you. Watch this. Watch. I'm gonna adjust it live. Look at this.
Do not.
Burp. I'm gonna make you the big window here.
Don't.
I'm just gonna up you a tiny bit. You said, why is it so small?
Well, I just thought we would match a little more. Like you and Brady were the same size, and now I'm like in this tiny little space.
Because it's a very male-dominated, misogynistic subject matter. Yeah.
Just like our marriage.
Whoa, that is absolutely not true. This is a monarchy. Are you kidding me? This is a monarchy for sure. Don't listen to her. It's not true. But like Bourbon Finder for us was really cool because we signed them up on to Bonded Bottle Shop, and I immediately started seeing the referrals come in for some of the unusual bottles, and I know that they've been driving people in. So just a really cool thing. So it's glad we could have him on.
Brady says I'm still here, so don't
make fun of me. Dang it, I was going to talk shit about him. Brady, I always talk crap about our guests after they leave, man. You're supposed to duck out and not hear everything else we say. No, so we're gonna wrap it. We went about an hour and a half. I think this is a really good test run for. Brady was a great guinea pig. A really good test run for the future. It
went great, and I think it was interesting, and all the guys stuck around. So
we may be ready to have a really important guest. Maybe
like Nancy Fraley.
We'll channel Elmer T Lee and get a medium, and we'll channel Elmer T. The ghost of Elmer T. I could just see a bad.
What was the name of that lady back in the day on Montel Williams that was like the psychic?
Oh Lord, we need a psychic. We need a psychic to come on and channel all of Pappy Van Winkle.
Oh God, what
Colonel
was her
Taylor.
name?
Now that would.
And she was wrong about everything, but she was always on there.
Kind of like me, wrong about everything. Yeah. If you want good whiskey advice, do the exact opposite of everything you hear on this channel, and you'll be good to go. All right, you guys, listen. I'm glad you guys improved the live or liked the live. I see some of you guys saying that you really enjoyed it. Please hit the like button, hit the share button. Tell somebody about this. We really want to grow this thing, and this is the format you saw tonight. Is the format that we want to do with this thing moving forward. As long as we continue to not have technical issues and we can line up some guests, I'd love to have more guests on from around the whiskey world, and then maybe we'll have some guests on that are not in the whiskey world that are just people you know.
Like.
I don't know, but it seems like we might be losing some kind of a connection here. So we're going to wrap it up. Uh-oh. So I don't know if we
Did you kill us off?
I don't know. Maybe we did. So anyway, so guys, thanks for coming by. I appreciate it. Hit all the likes and comments and smashes and all that stuff. Share this with somebody. It will be posted. This will be posted on my YouTube and stay there in perpetuity so you can watch it back, take clips of the embarrassing things that I said, do screenshots, whatever it is that you want to do. But do me a favor, send a link to this to somebody. Because I think that's the only way we're going to grow this thing.
I think I know who our next guest should be.
Who should be our next guest?
I think Steve should be our next guest.
Oh,
from Old Lou.
You mean Steve from Old Louisville? The
yes.
national brand ambassador of Old Louisville?
He's like official.
We should do that.
We should definitely do
That's a good idea. I don't need you right now, Gemini. Okay, guys, listen. Patrons, I sent the link to Rick. Patrons, head on over to the Discord after party. I got to go walk the dog. You know how that goes. And then we will see you guys in a little bit.
I think that's a resounded yes from what I'm seeing on the comments.
Steve will get in touch with you, big dog. I'm going to need you to mail me some old Louisville bottles that I've never had those, so that we can crack those open and try it together. I think that's fair. Or you'll have to come into the studio.
It's a tiny, tiny studio.
It's a tiny studio.
Ask Kenny.
You think we could get Brad Pitt to come on though? Probably not.
If Brad Pitt shows up by my house, I'm sorry. I'm leaving with him.
Okay, no Brad Pitt. No Brad Pitt. Unless he brings Angelina with him.
You can have her.
You're my Angelina, baby. Okay, guys. Listen, we'll be back here next week on Wednesday. We don't have any interruptions in the schedule for the next few weeks. Oh, wait a minute. Is it the month end? No, we're good.
Wait. One last thing.
Yes.
Were we
put
not
you back on camera? Hold on. Okay.
Were we not discussing switching nights?
Yes.
Are we working that out still?
It is likely that we may be switching nights. I've been too busy to think about it.
I think Thursday was going to be the new night.
Yeah, I think we may move to Thursday.
Let us know in the comments what you guys think about that. If you think Thursday might be a better option. It sounded like it when we were discussing it in person with some of our patrons, but let us know.
Cameron said no with a lot of O's.
Okay, well.
Can't do Thursday.
That settles that.
Right, well, screw that then. Well, you guys are going to have to do something about that other YouTube channel that does the lives. We're going to have to get him to stop doing it. So somebody please get
Brad Pitt free pass. You mean hall pass? Yes, absolutely.
Dude, I'd take a hall pass for Brad Pitt. Let's just be honest. Beautiful man. Yeah, so we'll see about changing the nights. Maybe we will.
Kenny says like Friday.
I like Friday. Maybe we'll do Fridays. I mean, Fridays would work.
Yeah.
And I'm going to change it to Talk Friday Whiskey to Me. I think I'm going to change the name of the live, I think, to Talk Friday Whiskey. As long as I don't do it on YouTube, nobody's going to care. On TikTok.
Yeah.
TikTok is really grinding my gears right now. We're not going to talk about that. Yes, Talk Friday Whiskeys to me. Talk Whiskey Fridays to me. No, I'm thinking about growing my beard out too. You think that's...
And you have to get a hat with like a straight bill?
No, I don't like hats, but my eyes are getting... I might need some glasses.
Yeah. You're going to have to do the hat.
I was trying to get AI to make me look like Ryan today. Just screwing around. It didn't do a good job. AI's full of shit. Ooh, Kenny's coming on to me.
Oh,
Whoa. Kenny,
hall pass for Conrad. Wowzers.
Okay. Now
Kenny?
It's getting weird.
I approve.
The scary thing is that Kenny knows where we live.
Kenny, yes you do. Pull up anytime.
All right, you guys, that's it for this week's Wednesday Whiskey Business. Talk Whiskey Wednesday to me. Whatever you want to call this crazy YouTube live thing. Thank you guys for coming by. Please come back next Wednesday. Please tell somebody. Tell a friend. Send a link. Do whatever you can to support us. We appreciate it. Obviously, check out BondedBottleShop.com. That's where you're going to find those bottles. And check out Bourbon Finder. If I get that bottle of Bourbon Finder, that River Roots, and it's the best whiskey I ever had, I don't know if I'm going to tell everybody because I'll feel bad because there's only 5 bottles left. I mean, I know this is true because I know where they are. All right, you guys. Thanks very much for joining us. We'll see you guys Wednesday next week.
Bye.